You've seen him all over social media, Chicago news outlets, and maybe even in the tailgate lots at Soldier Field. He's the Chicago Bears superfan, strongest stash in the 312. Dave Swerski, welcome to the Out Route.
Welcome to the Out Route with your host, Lauren Screeden.
Hey, thanks for having me, my friend. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Just, trying to get ready for this off season.
I was going to say, are you enjoying the off season a little bit?
So it's funny. I was like, okay, fine. I get a chance to breathe. I get a chance to take a second and, relax. And I haven't relaxed one bit. I've been thinking about it nonstop, trying to figure out what's next. So no rest for the weary.
It's true. Now, for those listening who may not know, tell us about the legacy of your family, the Swerski family.
Yeah. So my Uncle Bob, rest in peace. We lost him last summer. He was kind of the way I started this entire thing. I had an idea. I did a fantasy football draft as Dave Swerski, the guy behind the stash, put on the stash and tried this. And my wife at the time, not at the time, my wife all the time. Maybe we scratched that. My wife said you should put that on the internet. Yes. She's like, you should put that character on the internet. I did that. And I asked George as I did it, I was like, hey, do you mind? I don't want to step on any toes. And Uncle Bob gave me the go ahead. And we're now 3 years true and we've kept it going. So my uncles are famous for SNL and I'm trying to bring it to a new generation in a new kind of way.
So Uncle Bob was fully supportive of this singing career that you've I don't want to say stumbled upon, because you're very intentional with these songs, with everything you do. Tell us about how that all comes together.
Yeah, so music's been a part of my life forever. And I actually met, Uncle Bob, George Wendt, I actually met George when I was playing a show, not as this guy, as somebody that maybe you'll meet later if you hang out. But I've been playing music forever. It's how I've expressed myself creatively for a long time, and I've always just been a giant Bears fan. So this thing kind of, combined two of the loves of my life into one thing. And the first parody song I did kind of blew up. So it sort of let me know that maybe people were into it as much as I was into doing it. And ever since now it's been every single game, at least. I was tracking through stuff that I've done yesterday because I never get a chance to do that during the season. I was kind of going back to sort of pick and choose some stuff that maybe I want to play again. It's crazy. I mean, I've done over 115, 120 songs in 3 years. So it's nonstop, but it's been really cool to kind of just, like I said, combine my loves of the Bears and music and comedy and script writing and that kind of thing all into one thing that, people are responding to and that seem to love it. So it's awesome.
What was the first song that blew up? What was that first viral video?
It was Behind This Stash. So we were 3 years ago. We were 0-2 and we were going to 0-3 basically. It was I think we were going to play Kansas City, and so it was behind this stash and shades, a simple man who's always loved the Bears, and it was just behind the stash is sadness kind of a thing, and people responded to it, and I think I had 1,000 TikTok followers at the time, and that song went over 1 million views within the first day or two. So it was one of those things that kind of like put everything else on the map and then sort of gave me my focus of like, okay, I wanted the songs to be the thing and the songs are the thing. So let's go.
And now how many followers do you have?
We are over 250,000 now. So we got 250K across all platforms. So yeah, it's been wild. This last year, we rose quite a bit. So it keeps on building.
So you do a song generally after the game. So like each week of the season. So how far in advance do you know what song it's going to be? And do you have kind of some ideas going into the game, or is it just like come to you during the game?
I never predetermined. The one time I tried to predetermine was a couple years ago. We were playing the Lions, and I wanted to do in the Lion Sleeps Tonight because I thought we were going to win, and then we lost. And so I've kind of determined ever since I don't predetermine a song. Sometimes in the middle of a game, I'll get like an idea and I'll throw that in a note, but then I leave it alone, and I don't ever go back into my list of songs. Like that's as much prep, I guess, as I have a giant list of songs that's constantly building. So when I hear a song, I'm like, oh, that could work for something. Or maybe I hear a lyric that's like, we'll put that in. That's easy to rhyme with, the Bears or Ben Johnson or whatever it is. But that's the most prep I do. So as soon as the game is over, I either, enjoy a beer or tree and celebrate it for a second, or I get sad for a minute and then I just come up to my office and kind of go nuts and just try to figure it out. Start playing true songs, pick a song, and then I have to learn how to play the song because most of the songs I've never played before in my life. So I have to learn how to play it. And then I rewrite the entire thing, and then I track it with all of the instruments that surround me. And then, mix and master it. Usually now that it depends. Some of them have been like pretty simple, just an acoustic guitar. That's sort of how it started. And then now as I continue to go, it's like more of a challenge, I think, to try to do like an entire band of Swerskis. So that has been what has happened since, and sort of the challenge when I have a really good idea. I like to build the entire band and have an entire mix. So mixing and tracking an audio. And then I do the entire video too, with usually between 5 to 10 of me, and then edit the entire thing and usually get it out within 24 hours of the game being over.
That's great. And you don't sleep at all?
No, not really. Not really. And when I do sleep, I wake up singing these stupid songs. So it never ends.
I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw your videos, I was like, is he a twin? Because you pop in from both sides of the screen.
That's the whole idea.
I was like, wait a minute. There's
That's
two
the
of
best.
him.
And there's still people who think like, where's your brother? And I love it. I say this entire thing is like, it's as people have asked me if the stash is real. And I'm always just like, it's as real as you want it to be. And also this band of super fans is as real as you want them to be. Bruno Mars did a song and there's 7 of him and it's all him, but it's fun to think of him as a band. I don't know. It's the same kind of thing. It's fun.
What's your favorite song that you've done?
Man, so that's what's so crazy. So this week I've been trying to dig back true because there's a little cool something coming up where I might be playing some of these songs out and about. And so I am kind of going back through the catalog. And that's like, in the season, I never get to do that because it's just you can imagine, it's the grind. It's like you have the 1 week and you get it done. And then I'm doing a game preview for the next one. And then I do another song. And then if a song hits me in the middle of the week, I do another one. And so I never really get to go back and listen, but I was listening through, and Rebuilt the Lines from last year has to be like one of my favorite things I've done. That was when we got Ben Johnson, they got all 3 interior offensive linemen and flipped it. And we got Grady Jarrett, thought the defense was maybe fixed too. And it was rebuilding the lines, fixed on both sides. And then this season, the Lady Gaga one kind of blew up, and that was a lot of fun. But probably reenacting Dirty Dancing was also really fun. Although I missed a golden opportunity to use Lucy in the Lift. I messed up with that one. That's the thing. I get going so fast. It's like there's like one thing I'm like, oh, that would have made it even better. But
yeah, that's when you wake up in the night 3 days later.
Yes.
It's like, that's what I could have done. How different was this season? Because as someone in the content creator space in rooting for the Chicago Bears and covering them, it was a lot better received this year than years in the past. This was a really, really fun season, no matter if you were a fan, if you were watching it, if you were covering the team. It was really fun. How was it different this year, just in terms of what you saw and the kind of feedback you saw from fans?
Yeah. So what's funny is I think I put myself on the map as the sad super fan so much in the first 2 seasons, and last season was crazy viral. Like when the Heartbreak Hail Mary was the most viral thing I've ever done, I think. Sound of Silence to, the Hail Mary that we all felt and heard around world. And I think people got so used to like the pain that this season for me was interesting to sort of ride that wave, because it was crazy. Like there were so many opportunities and things throughout the season just because it kept building, I think, organically. But there was so much more joy this season than people were used to seeing in the previous 2. So I don't think that is as, I think it's easier for an audience at large to think it's funny to watch somebody be sad than it is to watch somebody be really happy because they're good. So there's a little bit more of the braggadocious sort of like, we're good, you're not, that came out this season that was kind of fun to see how people reacted. But so much of my audience had been built in the sadness. So they knew it wasn't like I wasn't jumping on while we were good, because there was a lot of jumping on of good, better, best, and, trying to like ride, like you said, the content creation wave of like, oh, they're good now. And I think my timing of, I again, put myself on the map, I think, talking about our collective pain that we've all been in as fans of this team for my entire life. Like, I know what it's like to every year be like, this is our year. And then like most years ended up being sad. So there was so much familiarity in this that this was a whole new wild, wild west of like, riding the wave of joy and a different kind of fandom. And I have to say the positivity that came out this year was amazing. That's the best part about it, is like people were just on a high and sort of wanted to share that with each other, which was really, really cool.
Totally. I never thought of that though, where when because you're like a voice of the fans.
I try
So
to be.
when we're riding the highs and riding the lows, it still gives someone a place to go to be like, "Oh, this is how I feel." Like, you have built that community where people can identify with that no matter what's happening on the field, which is really cool.
I appreciate that. That's the entire idea. And once I realized how many people, well, even the first one, the behind the stash, it was, no one knows what it's like to be the sad fan behind this stash. And at the time, there were so many other NFL teams that were also 0-2 that season. So then it was like, once I was realizing like the collective pain of not even our fan base, of everybody that has the same kind of emotions. And then once Bears fans really latched onto, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt within my comments and things. It's amazing, because that's really what I try to do, is to channel the inner crazy super fan, because behind this stash, I am this fan. I'm just maybe not as much on the cartoon steroids as I am with Dave, but it's, that true sense of like, living, writing, dying with how this team does. Like, that's what I want to convey, because I feel it. So when people say the nice things that you just said, that makes my day. So thank you.
You are so welcome. And that Chicago stash really brings out the Chicago accent.
Bears.
Where is Dave Swerski from?
Oh, the South Side.
Of course.
Yeah. Just like my Uncle Bob.
Of course.
Here and there.
Do you have any second cousin counterparts at other teams kind of doing the same thing? Anybody you've met that
So Robert Williams does it with the Eagles. I think it's Robert Williams. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. My wife was really into him, and she was like, "You got to reach out to him and do something," because he does, I think, a lot of Billy Joel, and he does
cool.
it sort of like right after the song. He just kind of like plays within a song and does a similar thing. And he's I think, Afghanistan vet who started doing this like kind of comedy skits with his wife, and then started doing songs a few years back as well, because he got some good press this year with like the Wall Street Journal did a piece on him, and he's like a counterpart a little bit, but I haven't really met a lot of people that are. It's a grind to try to do it every single game, and then also, do the other things that I'm doing too. Like it's pretty intense. So I don't know that it would be very easy to lose momentum and steam. So I think he's the only other person I've met that does it like all the time, like I do.
I mean, I struggle to keep up with my tailgate recipes, so I can't imagine. But like the editing that you do compared to I cannot imagine. And you would never get an editor?
No, I don't.
Why are we all the same way? It's such a
It's
problem. My husband's like, hire an editor. You could do all these things. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but I can't give up the control.
No, I can't give up the control. And especially with like the fact, like it's music videos, right? So it's like a really specific eye that I have for them. And a lot of them, like, it depends on how nerdy people want to dive into it. But there's a lot of them that I will not shot for shot, because I can't, because I'm in like one room. But I do a lot of like copy paste of sort of like setups within my own setup for videos that actually came out. Like now, there's so much going on that I don't do that as much, but that is still a big part of it, is to get the inspiration from like Whip It this year, which I did for the blocked kick it with the Raiders. So I was like, blocked it good. And I went back and watched that one. I was like, Jesus. I don't know, like that edit, I think, is the hardest edit that I think I've ever done. And that one, like, I was trying to do the Devo thing. So not only was it a lot of things, but it's like the energy that you have to have. And then you go straight from like that expelling of that energy to then that edit. But the edit's music. So like, I don't know, for me, if I gave up any of that, there would have to be a really good reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there would have to
Yeah.
be like, I would have to be so busy. But I don't know. I'm a filmmaker at heart, so that's where this all comes from. And I, been writing songs my entire life too. So like all of it is, I like that control as well.
We're in the studio now, right? Like
Yeah.
where this is where the magic happens. How
This is
big of
it.
a room is it?
About 5 by 7. No, it's not a
And
very
you're a
big
tall
room.
guy too, so
I
it's
am.
funny when I see it. I'm like, oh,
It's hilarious.
yeah.
So many people. I don't know if the room makes me look short, but I met a couple people in Chicago that they're like, "Geez, I really thought you were like this short guy." I'm like, no, I'm a tall human. The room is, I think, maybe 10 feet this way, and maybe like 12 to 13. But this is like, so behind the stash, I do a lot of voiceover stuff as well, and I have a voiceover booth as a closet in this room. This is basically our second bedroom that is turned into Studio Swerski. And it's also, I have a projector wall. So like that's where we Madden is on the projector, and I watch
Yes.
games up here too. But yeah, it's a smallish room, but all you need is enough room to have your creativity do its thing, and that's it.
Well, that's what was so funny when we did that Waterloo Can Cruiser tailgate together.
Yeah.
Shout out Waterloo.
Hey, hey.
If they wanna sponsor the pod, call me. That Can Cruiser, like, you almost
Oh
got
my
stuck in
god.
it. You
That
were,
was
like, trying to, like, get in, and when we were, like, popping out of that, someone was like, "Oh my gosh," and they were like, "You're really tall." I'm
Yep.
like, "Yeah." We almost had to, like, pry the can open,
Yeah, I got my foot caught in the in the side door, and I
like the
ripped the
steering
metal.
wheel.
I literally ripped the
Yep.
metal part of their
We weren't
little
gonna tell
cruiser.
them that.
It wasn't, sorry, Waterloo.
So, when you're shooting a video, are you shooting each individual part in, like, the same outfit and same thing that you're doing and then go to the next one? Or are
Yep.
you alternating between the 2?
A little bit of both. I've sort of streamlined it now. When I started, I think I was making that's in going back through my old songs yesterday, especially. I was like, man, I made this a lot harder on myself when I was starting. Cause like anything, you don't really know what you're doing until you do it. And even then,
Mhm.
you're still learning. But with this, I found that I do an entire take in one Swerski, in one camera setup that I know is kind of like that setup for whatever that is. And then I move on and I change and then I do the other one. And most of that now has like a rhythm to it as well because I've done it so much. But yeah, everything is, hitting play and record and lining it up and then doing the performance all the way through and then, stitching it all together from there. So yeah, there's very few. Some of them, like I was actually going back. There's one I did the Foo Fighters song, The Best of You, but I did that for us getting the best of Tepper and Carolina with the draft, with the DJ and all of it. And
Yeah.
that one had a ton of inserts too. So like then I'll just do like one little bit as that character. So sometimes I am putting the same outfit on 3 or 4 times, but it's always going through one. And I don't know, the way my brain works, I just like, because I also know I'm going to edit it, as long as it makes sense to me and what I get, then I can still churn it out pretty quick. But I have been known to confuse myself a few times by just like adding in way more crap than I need to in the end to really just get it done. But it's what's fun about it. I don't know. It's fun to challenge yourself every time.
Have you ever had a colossal technology meltdown?
Well,
Or, like, you forgot to press record?
yes, that's happened many times. That is awful where like I will get a audio track because sometimes there are some of them, and those are the more complicated ones where I will sit here and I will do it. It is a live performance of me on acoustic, and then everything is built from that rather than like building it, brick by brick as the music and then lip syncing it as a music video. And those are frustrating because I have to sit here and get through the whole thing and like get all the lyrics and you'll get to the very, very last line and mess it up. Like that has happened many a time. But the hardest ones for me are now because I'm traveling a lot. I'm trying to get to more away games and get, like all over the country to see them play. And whenever I do that, it shrinks my timeline of turnover by a lot. So like the San Francisco game was a night game, and then I had to get the thing out the next day. And so like those become, how can I do this with a little less edit sometimes with that? So that's really the biggest technological thing for me is like trying to like, I always want to be here. And my wife keeps saying like, you could just do a song on the road. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. It's not the same. Like I want it like
Yeah.
same control thing. I want it to look a certain way. And so that's been the biggest thing. But I bought a new computer this year because like my computer was slowing me down significantly in the edits. So that's been the biggest, technological change is when you get something new, you got to like figure out all the things. Like the new computer doesn't have a webcam, so the phone is the webcam. So like just different little
Right.
things. But yeah, nothing big. So knock on wood.
Okay,
Hopefully,
knock on wood. I'm
yeah,
knocking on
hopefully
wood
that won't
over here
happen.
for you.
Yeah.
What's one song that you haven't done yet that you would love to do?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Semi-Charmed Kind of Life has been on there for a long time,
Okay.
and that one is like, first of all, the lyrics of that one in real life are always very surprising to people that grew up with it and then actually hear what it talks about because it's that song is wild. But I think everybody knows that one really well, and like that would be really fun. Uptown Funk has been on there for a long time. Anything
Okay.
Bruno Marsy where you can do some of the dance stuff too. There's so many. I have a list of this like to choose from stuff that I think is over 500 songs still that I haven't done that I will just literally put on shuffle after a game or throughout the week to like, sort of get that inspiration to hear a lyric and go. Cause like when the Behind the Stash one, the very first one I did, I was literally cooking eggs downstairs for my wife and I, and it was like, behind the stash and shades of simple. I gotta go. And so like,
Yeah.
I jump up, and that's kind of how it goes. Like I'll hear something and I just go. So that there's a lot of songs in that filing cabinet of like, that'll be good when it works. It just hasn't quite lined up yet, or it's hard to rhyme or whatever it is. So we'll get there.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to hear those. People know you for your songs, but what they might not know is you also do I mean, you have more content throughout the week, your YouTube shows and stuff like that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the game previews actually when this started, it was skit based, and I was doing like sitting here, sort of like talking through the games and like Bears updates, and I was doing fake press conferences with Eberflus and stuff. I also feel responsible maybe for part of our downfall with him because I encouraged the beard growth so very much, and really, anyway, that's another story for another day.
You know, you can't take on that. That's not your burden to carry, I assure you.
Yeah, I do a game preview every week, so I will always preview the game and that's on all socials and things too. So that usually comes out on Fridays, that's another kind of hefty edit because I try to make it fun with some cutaways and things like that. Plus, it's just a lot of research to try to get everything I do for those and the script and everything. And then midweek, so this past year, I got really overwhelmed, if I'm being honest. And I was doing this thing called on the grass or off the grass, depending on during the season or off season. And it was sort of styled after, any late night talk show, quick hitting sports feature where I did a whole thing on the Bears. A lot of times I would play whatever song I had done just live acoustic sitting here and then go into like a whole breakdown of everything about the Bears. Those ended up being 15-ish minutes long, 10 to 15 minutes long after the edit. So my scripts for those were about 30 minutes of like straight, filling an entire 30 minutes of just stuff. And throughout the season last year, trying to do all three. So, parody song within 24 hours, this giant thing in the middle of the week that takes tons of edit time and tons of research. And then the game preview at the end. I didn't know if this was going to be the kind of thing that would be a vocation enough to pay my bills to do as much work as that is for me. So I killed off the on the grass in the middle of the season this past year, but I'm bringing that back because I'm a sports nerd at heart. So it's a lot of fun to kind of dive into all that. And now I've built up a lot of audience there as well. Like YouTube has been growing and it's separate. You know what I mean? Like there's TikTok and Instagram are fairly interchangeable at this point. I feel like Facebook is an extension of Instagram. So like those are all kind of in the same playing field, whereas YouTube presents like a cool opportunity to have your own show if you have the wherewithal and the ability to do it. So that one is for more of the diehard fans, I think. Like, it's not quite as viral, but it is a lot of fun. So yeah, it ends up being waking up every day and diving in between that, cameos, other stuff like that. It's kind of nonstop. I am writing or performing or whatever or dreaming as Swerski pretty much all the freaking time. So it's a good thing I like it.
It's true. Good thing you're a fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave Swerski has some exciting things coming up this off season. Do you want to share any with us or tell us where people can continue to get your content when they're missing Sundays with the Bears?
Yes. So at Dave Swerski everywhere. You can find all my stuff. Merch store is daveswerskistore.com. I design everything there as well, and I run the whole store myself. So that's been another cool kind of other creative element of like, drawing the stash and shades by hand and designing all these shirts and things and all that kind of stuff. And yes, I have been dropping hints. And you know what? The loyal listeners of this here podcast will get to find out first because I haven't actually dropped the full thing yet, but I will be performing live once again on stage in Chicago for an hour set at Old Crow Smokehouse on April 24th. So the second day of the NFL draft. I will be there for the draft. Hopefully I will be attending at Soldier Field. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Chicago Bears. I am here for you. I would love to be there to help you promote that once again, but I will be there for the draft in some capacity. And then Friday night, I will be doing an hour set. I did a set a couple not this season, but the season before in November at the Promontory. Ended up being the same night as the tree lighting ceremony. Not a great night to do something in Chicago that's not the tree lighting ceremony. And out of town. That place was a little bit far away, but this is going to be right in the heart of Wrigleyville. I'm going to have some special guests. Again, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And
maybe I'll have to stop by.
Hey, badoom, let's do it. I'll be there throughout the week. So I'll be doing some media hits that week too, but it's going to be really, really fun. I'm building that show now. So I've been dropping hints, like the date was on my microphone in the last song that I did. And I've started to it's very different, right? I build these songs and I have an entire band that I am playing all the instruments, but there's a whole thing. And when you go out and you do it live solo, it does become a little different. So that was a little hint dropped last night with the last song too, with what I'm calling Bad Bunny. my, harmonica. So I can do these different things where I can play a show and, kind of cover a lot of the different stuff that I do. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we get to do some skit and song stuff there. So going to have to come out to it. It's free too. So everybody come out to Old Crow Smokehouse, April
Amazing.
24th. It's going to be a fantastic time.
I love it.
And then beyond that, we're just doing this, we're just keep going. We keep that dream alive. There will be news to share, I'm sure, right? There will be some stories to break.
Absolutely. Now, Dave Swerski, before we let you go here, and this interview isn't over. We've got more after this, but I have to have you do our 1-minute drive brought to you by Chevy Drives Chicago, a series of rapid fire questions in 1 minute. So I'm going to set my timer just to really get to know you.
I'm ready, coach.
Favorite player?
Walter Payton. A current is tie between Roma Dunze and Caleb.
What's your favorite season?
Favorite season? Last season, I think.
No, like spring, summer, winter.
I was like, they've all been pretty crappy,
Or
Lauren.
fall,
Like, I don't
the
know.
only one I didn't say. That was like the miscongeniality moment. What's your favorite date?
That's hilarious. Fall for sure. No
Fall.
question.
Okay.
No
Great.
question.
What was your first job?
A Walmart cart pusher.
Incredible.
So Midwest, isn't it?
That is so Midwest. Jewel Osco might have been a little more, but
Might
yeah,
have been.
we'll take
I was like
Walmart.
15, 14. Yeah.
My gosh, you should go on Cart Narcs. You ever seen that? So
No,
funny.
is that a thing? Oh, okay.
Yes. Oh, check out the YouTube. It's so funny.
Okay.
This is the slowest rapid fire of all time. If you could be any animal.
Bear.
Of course.
Come on.
Food you could eat over and over again.
Pizza.
Most used emoji.
Crying with laughter.
Who's your hero?
Man, that's a tricky one. Adam Sandler.
Where did you go on your last vacation?
Santa Barbara?
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, I believe.
Favorite subject in school?
Music.
Movie you can quote every word of.
Oh, man, so many. Anything Adam Sandler. Also, Rudy. I mean, like, so many. I'm a movie buff.
Good
I could
one.
do lots of movies. Yeah. Ace Ventura.
What's your go-to coffee order?
Black coffee or a double shot of espresso. Very easy.
Amazing.
Yep. Maybe a little whiskey in there.
I actually remember. Okay, that's the end of that segment. I actually remember the first time I met you. It was the afternoon, and you were like, double shot of espresso, and I was like,
Yep.
I'd be up for 4 days after that. You were like,
That's
I've
what we
had
do.
2 already. I'm like, oh my god,
I love the cafe.
love it, Dave Swerski. I can't
ma'am.
thank you enough.
Thank you for
But
having me.
listeners, now we're going to get to know the man behind the stash. So download this episode of The Out Route wherever you get your podcasts to find out more.
Thanks for having me. Go Bears!
Go Bears! And now he's going to jump into a phone booth and do the Clark Kent Superman
My hair
transformation, I guess
My
we'll
hair's
call
probably
it.
just not going to look right. I'm going to be honest with you. Might have to
The
keep the hat
words of
on.
Cousin Eddie. You can keep the hat on. It's okay. The
let's
shocking
find
part
out.
is the no mustache.
I know. Let's see if we can do this without looking crazy.
Honestly, when you first came on the screen, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that's what he looked like.
Yeah.
People are going to freak
Let's still
out.
do the hat. Yeah.
My gosh. There he is.
What's up, Lauren?
His name is still Dave. I want
It
you all
is.
to
It
know.
is.
David. I guess, do we go
David.
David or Dave?
I've been David my whole life. Although my guy friends, a lot of my guy friends call me Dave, but like my wife like almost like snarls her lip when people call me Dave when I'm me. So yeah. David.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
David. David, tell us about your life, your family, your beautiful wife, dog Lucy. I mean, you got it all. You're living the dream.
For full disclosure, I grew up in Iowa, just a massive, massive, massive Chicago Bears fan. I did read that Iowa is now in the sweepstakes too. They're trying to get him to Bettendorf. So yeah, I bet that's going to happen.
They're like, you know what? If Indiana can do it, here we come.
Why not us?
Why
Hold my
not?
beer. But yeah, I grew up in Iowa, went to college there as well. So like knew a ton of people from Chicago because the University of Iowa, for people that don't know, is like this weird pipeline with Chicago as well. There's tons of people from Chicago that go to Iowa. And then I always wanted to be an actor. I was always a musician. I was touring in the Midwest all through my teenage years. I had a band in high school and then played in Chicago, played in Minnesota, played in Kansas City, a little everywhere in the Midwest, and like self-run tours. Like I was booking everything myself. I was working with a couple friends of mine that went to high school with me. Went from Iowa to Los Angeles to pursue this kind of stuff professionally. So moved out here a little over 20 years ago. Crazy. I
Crazy.
know. I'm only 21, so like I moved when I was
I know,
one.
it's so weird. I'm 25 now, so
Yeah.
it's, it's
Absolutely. But yeah, moved out here, had some quick success within both music stuff and acting, kind of like a hybrid. Hannah Montana was like the original claim to fame. I was her original guitar player out here.
Shut up. You never told me that.
Yeah. So when it was a pilot, I got hired. It was technically like a commercial gig when I got it, and they hired a bunch of us who could play instruments and stuff to do all these music videos. So we did 6 of her music videos when it was still a pilot. Met Billy Ray, gave them my CD, which I had of my band at the time. And then like a couple months later, I got a call that Billy was like, "There's a role on the show," because it had been picked up. And like, "There's a role on the show," and he really wanted us to find you and bring you on because it was the role of her guitar player. And I was like, "Well, that's cool." So that was my first TV credit, was through that. And I showed up. I had done a pilot out here for Fox that never saw the light of day, but it was crazy. I worked with some really people that went on to do amazing things out here. Sean Haddisy, who was in The Pit last year, he was the other doctor with the amputated leg. He was in that pilot. My TV mom, who is still my mentor out here, Leslie Hope, she was Jack Bauer's wife on 24, and she was my mom in that show.
Wow.
But Hannah Montana was kind of the first thing that people got to see me on TV. And I show up at this thing, and no joke, Billy Ray, I show up. Miley already knew me really well. The family knew me really well from doing the music videos. So she came up, gave me a big hug, and like I was like part of the family on that show. I go in, Billy wants to go hang out for a second, and in his giant like green room, dressing room, he had 20 years ago, folks, we had a boombox still, like a, CD player. And he had my CD in the tray with my liner notes out on his boombox. And he was like, "I've been listening to your music, man. You're really good." And so fast forward, sorry, long story. I ended up touring with Billy Ray. I did like Good Morning America with him. My band opened for him in Indiana, actually, at a place like most people we had ever played for. It was like thousands of people. Got a standing ovation from Billy Ray's crowd, got mobbed for autographs when no one knew who I was. Like, it was kind of a wild ride there when I first got out here. And then as things go here, and then it's like, I tested for Secret Life of the American Teenager to be Shayla Woodley's baby daddy, and it was between me and one other guy. Didn't get it. Went out for a series of 3 movies where I was a lead guy. It was me and one other guy. Didn't get it. Went out for Book of Mormon to go be on Broadway, and it was like I got to go sing for Trey Parker and Matt Stone and all these people. Didn't get it. So it's like I rode that wave out here for forever, and I've had tons of amazing opportunities. I do tons of voiceover work out here. That's kind of like my main thing. So I have the booth, and musically, I was working here and there as well. I had a band for a little bit. I kind of fell apart out here, but yeah, that's kind of it. Been out here, met my wife on a movie. She was the makeup artist on a film that I was the lead actor in, shot in Miami, and ended up talking her into coming and trying LA for her job. And we ended up falling for each other, and rest is history. We were supposed to get married in the COVID year and then had to delay that until a couple of years ago. So 2 falls ago, we got married finally. And yeah, we have our dog child, Lucy, and Swerski has taken over pretty much everything now. So
okay, that was
long story. Sorry,
a lot.
That was a lot.
No, incredible. I just didn't want to interrupt you. I have so many questions. I do find it funny because the last thing you ended on was Allie and her being a makeup artist, and I just want to give the endorsement that she can apply your mustache like no other. Like 95-degree day, don't worry, she's got it covered. She knows what she's doing.
She found me. I have a bag of them at this point because I go through them a lot. I tend to sweat, and especially when it is hot outside. I am a hot-blooded, male, and my face will sweat, and it does want to pop off. And when we did the show, that was the worst. So the Promontory show 2 Novembers ago, she brought glue, and there's like something weird with like flying with it because it looks like it could be something that they wouldn't let you take. And so we tried to glue it, and I sweat it off. So like for half the show, I was like trying to stick it on my face by like putting my face on the microphone to keep it on. She's amazing. She found me this mustaches that looked, because she told me if I grew a real one, she would shave it off in my sleep. So she found me.
I was
going
to say, could you grow a real one? Like, but
I have. Remind me. I'll send you COVID Jesus David when we're done. I had like shoulder length hair and like a full, like I could twist it and like, yeah. But I'm somewhat patchy. I'm not like a super hairy human being, but I can grow a mustache. It's just not like we come back to all the time. First of all, she would shave it off, and second of all, it's not as funny. And the funny is the thing that like it's a character unto itself. So it works that way.
It's a big part of the brand for sure.
It is, yes.
Okay, as a, kid born in the 90s and
Yeah.
Disney Channel watcher growing up, I
Yeah.
have to go back to the Hannah Montana
Yeah.
part of it.
Let's
I
do it.
mean, kind of Hannah Montana to Miley. That's kinda like you and Dave Swerski, actually.
What's
That's
really
like the
funny,
original. She
so
walks so you could run.
100%. And what's really funny, we talk about this a lot, Allie and I do, because in Chicago and stuff like now, and it's so amazing. Like when I go out in character, because when I first started, it was all content creation stuff. Like it was all pretty internal. So the only time I was ever really Dave was here in this room. And then once I started going out and doing appearances and now doing some shows and things too, the reaction from people out and about is incredible. Because like so many people, I've tried really hard to cultivate this like really positive space where like in my view, I feel like Swerski is Ted Lasso meets all of my heroes from 90s SNL with like the kind of relentless positivity and like cringe is a feature, not a bug, like there's like we can be joyful and we can be fans of something and all love it a lot and hate our rivals without actually hating our rivals,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And it's been really cool because the community is not just Bears fans. It's a little bit of everything. And when I go out in public, people are so overjoyed to see that character in person. And the greatest thing is it's a weird version of fame is the wrong word, but like it's a recognition that like
Yeah.
is sort of like crazy and jarring and jarring in a good way, but also like just people are yelling for you kind of everywhere. And the more I've done it, the more that happens. And it doesn't matter if I'm in California, if I'm in Chicago, if I'm in Minnesota, like whatever it may be, it happens. But when I take the thing off and I don't have the hat on, no one knows. And so that's why, even
Mhm.
with this, like I'm pretty on purpose, keep it at an arm's distance because I want people to still have that illusion of like, Dave is a living, breathing thing. And basically he is me, but on steroids of fandom.
Right.
And, just through that familiar lens of what a lot of us grew up with, or the people that didn't necessarily actually grow up with it, they grew up with someone who did grow up with it that still idolized that skit. And yeah, George giving me his blessing was everything. Like he weekly interacted with my stuff before he passed away and was like such a huge supporter of what I did. He introduced me to Robert Smigel, who wrote the skit. And then I've been able to perform with him multiple times, have his blessing on this whole thing too. So it's been a dream come true. And I am really real life Hannah Montana. It's, I have friends out here that were like, literally like, you are Hannah Montana. I'm like, yeah, you'd think people could tell the
Pretty
difference, but
much.
they can't.
Pretty much. Do you still stay in touch with Miley at all?
No, I wish, when they went on a meteoric, rise to fame and went through some hell in their own family. And
Yeah.
now there's some weird stuff with all of it as well. But
Yeah.
it is, Miley was awesome when I knew her. Yeah, absolutely. She was incredible though. And Billy was one of my first mentors out here. Like he was one of the first people to sort of take me under his wing. And unfortunately, part of that ended up with me moving back to Iowa for a year to go play with my band and like leaving when I had a lot of momentum here for a year because I was like so frustrated with all those close calls. And he sort of was like, yeah, go
Mhm.
play with your band, like without really,
Mm. Yeah.
thinking that through to help me probably in a different way where it's like, no, stick it out. Like you're so close. But, everything happens for a reason. I'm here. And like you said,
Totally
life is
does.
pretty good right now. So it's good.
How did you meet George Wendt for the first time?
I was playing guitar in a friend's band. He's a Broadway guy. He was, his name's Harley J. He's an incredibly talented musician in his own right. And he was Mark on Broadway in the play Rent. So he toured with that and then kind of had some notoriety around here. I think he had done a play with George or something. Like he knew George and we had done our set and I was literally at the bar ordering a drink and I got like tapped on the shoulder and I turned around and for anyone who would think anything different, George is like the sweetest teddy bear of a man. And he was just like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, you're really talented. Like, you did a great job playing guitar up there. And I was like, oh my God, you're Norm.
Yeah.
And then our relationship kind of came from that. I think we added each other as Facebook friends then. And that was a long, long time ago. And I went at
Man, Facebook,
Halloween.
CDs, you're really
Yeah, I
aging
know,
yourselves
right?
here.
Whatever, man. I am what I am. But I went as Halloween one year as like a super fan. Like I put a pillow in my jersey and like, fake
Full
mustache and
commitment.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a cheesy fake mustache. And I sent him a picture of that long ago and I was like, hey, check this out. And then we just kind of kept in touch off and on here. And then he would like pop into my, comments and like some stuff that I was doing acting wise. And then yeah, when I started this character, we became really tight. So almost got to go perform. He was trying to get me to go perform with him when they went to Kansas City last summer, not last summer, but the summer before. Excuse me, summer before. They ended up performing with Jason Sudeikis, who is his actual nephew, and
Oh, really?
yeah, and Jason Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes and Robert and George all did that thing, and I got kicked for those people, which is a little understandable, but a bummer because I was like so
Yeah.
excited to do it with them on stage. That was a really big thing for me, was to like lose the imposter syndrome. I wanted to be on stage with them, and then Robert invited me that same weekend to perform with him in Chicago, so I got that anyway, just in a different way. And then now this year, Robert reached out after we beat Green Bay to go to the playoffs. Or actually, I can't remember if it was that they were so back to back with Green Bay, but then he wanted to do a song that I ended up doing the edit for. So like being again like welcomed into that world by the people that I admire so much, that I like never wanted to seem like I was like, you know, stepping on toes or running with something that was something else. Like I tried to be my own version of that, and for them to embrace it is everything. I don't know. Get all emotional.
No, totally. I mean, that to me is the greatest validation or greatest compliment that you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the just the welcoming in, and like we think what you're doing is cool. And what was really cool with this one too, like Robert gave me the thing, and then because of how fast I work, like I don't think people really comprehend that until they are doing a project with me. And he was just like, I had no idea you'd be able to churn it out that quick. And I'm like, well, every week I churn out stuff that quick.
Yeah.
And so where this came from first was I actually had written and directed an entire pilot right before the industry shut down out here. So I had this thing that I had edited, I scored it, like I wrote it, I acted in it, I directed it. My wife and I produced it with some other friends out here. And then we had this like pilot that we were trying to sell about kids growing up in the Midwest that we couldn't do anything with. And so that was where I was like in this weird creative like void of like, what do I do? And that's where Swerski sort of took over. And now it's like given me so much purpose that it's like, it's so funny. Everything else feels like on the outskirts now. So weird how things work.
It really is. And what I've heard you say through a lot of this also is there have been a lot of what feel like close calls. And I think that's
Yeah.
part of number one, being in this industry and being literally like in Hollywood, like you
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
And how do you go about handling that and processing that? Because it's a lot.
Yeah. It's a really bizarre thing because it is literally 99% of the time, I would say. Like, I mean, I don't even think mathematically that's probably very wrong, because the amount of things, if you add up, you know, how many voiceover auditions and how many commercial auditions and how many film and television things that you go out for in a year when you're doing this professionally, and how many most people actually book, uh, your batting average is terrible. Like you'd never be able to play, you know, in the majors. So it is something that you are constantly having to confront and deal with. Some days are easier than others. I don't know. I think what's been really cool with having this was it totally has flipped my perspective on what it is. Cause like, you know, growing up in the Midwest and being a musician, and like, you know, it's not like there was the machine of it that there is out here. So I got used to being self-paced, and like any album that we made was because I wrote the thing, I got my band together to do it, and then I mixed and made it, and then I was figuring out distribution, I was figuring out booking. Like I was always so self-driven in my life before I moved out here. And then you come here and there is a machine to it. Like, you know, people have seen Entourage or whatever it is. Like that's like a glorified, you know, sort of cartoony version of what it is, but it is like
But
that.
there's some accurate
Oh
things, I'm
yeah,
sure.
there's gatekeepers, and then there's like the system. And the system is you get an agent, you wait for your agent to call you. Your agent says, here's an opportunity. You go out for that opportunity. Normally you don't hear a damn thing about it after you've gone out for it. And then you wait for the next one. So there's like, it's sort of like was a weird thing for me to sort of like slam the brakes on my own self-propelled, you know, motivation to like make my own stuff. Cause I was like, well, now I want everything that I do to be like professional. And I don't, you know, like I don't want to do
Mhm.
homemade things. I want to be in a show that's on TV that people will see back home or whatever it is. And then now I think the lines with all of that have gotten so crossed, because content creation is the future. And it is how like I don't know if you saw the guy, there's a YouTuber who crowdfunded a film and he put it out as a horror film, and it was like the top grossing horror film the weekend it came out, and it was all crowdfunded. And he's like a YouTuber that just like, he was also a filmmaker and he was teaching YouTube filmmaking. And like, there is a world now where if you build your own audience doing something that you love, that's authentic to you, that is now sought after by the people that are doing, you know, Netflixy things or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like that, having this has helped with any of that other rejection, because now I go out for the thing and it's like, I'm not so beholden to, I need this job or how am I going to pay my bills, or I need this job because I need to be creative. Like, I'm creative every day. So it has definitely like been an amazing gift to be able to have an audience that shows up, because that's been all I've ever wanted my entire creative life, was for, you know, writing music that people would want to listen to, and making art that moves people, and like seeing the looks in people's faces when they see Swerski and they're like, I just, you know, I send my stuff to my kid. I keep in touch
Mm-hmm.
with my son because of your stuff. Or, you know, my dad and I are way closer than we are, like grown men my father's age, like tackling me in the concourse at Soldier Field. Like that's what I've always wanted to do with this work, is like affect people and like make a difference. So that has been the greatest way to deal with rejection, is like to just be like, you know, if I'm rejected by you, fine. I have this other thing that's like my own and I'm building it myself. And like, that is more special to me anyway.
Totally. I totally get that. Honestly, that's why I started this podcast. We were joking about it. I was like, 10 people listen.
Hey.
You're going to get a lot of people.
And then 11, and then 15, and then 27, you know,
It's like you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And when you get people, when you get people not giving you brand opportunities or jobs that you've, you know, interviewed for or anything like that, and you see all these people building these followings, and it's like, what are they doing that I'm not? And it's like, you know what? Just start it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, just start it.
That's the hardest part. And also like the most rewarding is once you start, then like you have something. You either have something to go back to,
Right.
or you have something that becomes the snowball that barrels downhill. So yeah. I mean, you're a self-starter. I know that. I've like, you know all about it.
Thanks. Well, you know, I find it funny that we met up once. First time we met was to shoot On the Streets, which
On the
maybe we bring
Streets.
that back this year.
I think so. That week in April.
Yeah. We, I think, talked for like 3 hours standing in a lobby
Yep. It was raining
before
and
we
cold.
even shot something.
Yeah. It was
Yep.
so cold that day.
Yep. Big picture. If you could draw up the dream gig, what would it be?
Oh God. SNL was always like the pinnacle for me. And like my age makes me know that it's so funny. Like Superman was
Don't
always
say that.
another
Don't
one.
you dare say that.
I
Don't
know.
you dare say it.
I mean, SNL is so like based off of like whatever generation is in their 20s and 30s. Like it just really, really is. Not that it couldn't be something else. I mean, Keenan is older than me, so you got that.
Got that.
But
you're in your 20s, so hello.
yeah, absolutely. It's just 21. I don't know really. Like now it keeps changing. SNL was sort of the thing where like I really wanted the Bears to make it to the Super Bowl, and then Robert to get, you know, like the invite to do something on SNL as the Bears again, and to bring me on to sort of like pass the baton a little bit, or not even pass it, but like, you know, let me sit at the table at least, or something. And that has been sort of a big goal. But I don't know, the playing live and like the music aspect of it, like Weird Al's career and Adam Sandler's career, like what they get to do, like tour and do sort of like comedy music, like that I think is what is in the future, and what has been really hard for me. And I'm almost kind of glad you sort of challenged me today with like being this guy here too, is like, how do I take what I'm doing there and also do it here and make this, you know, like make David Hawk as like, you know, the potential of growth within a creative space there too, like I have with this character. And it's I think it was Mojo Brooks, Dion from Chicago too. He was talking about it on a podcast. I think he was on Pivot with Ryan Clark. And he was saying how he was doing a bunch of character work on the internet. And he realized like, until I can be out of character and be me, you know, I'm like limiting myself with what I can do. And I was like, oh, God, because like there's a little bit of that with, you know, the Swerski is such a he's in a box of like what that thing is and like what Chicago is. And I try to just do Bears too, because otherwise everybody's like, do Cubs, do Blackhawks, do Bulls. And I'm like, I also just like need to not do it for a second too, because it's
I
like,
need a life, right?
my God, like I don't think people realize it's like all the time. And the Bears stuff doesn't stop. Like in the off season, there's going to be, we'll
Sure.
get a free agent thing and somebody will get traded and we'll hire somebody and we'll go to the draft and like it never stops.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. Playing on stage has always been, I become, my wife always says like, you're like a fully different person when you're on stage. And it is like, you got a spotlight and a mic and silence unless you make noise. That is like a really sacred, crazy, terrifying and awesome place to be. So I think some form of doing this kind of stuff live is going to come back. But I don't know. I want to write movies. I want to direct stuff. Like I just love telling stories. So that's a long ass answer to a question that I don't have a simple answer for. Just staying creative, continually being able to pay my bills by like telling stories is like the ultimate goal. And anything else that comes from that is icing. And I love icing.
I went to my best friend's tour with Adam Sandler this
Oh,
year, and I had no idea. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
I've seen him on SNL, but I didn't know he was as musically talented
Yeah.
as he is.
That
And I
was,
saw him at the United Center. I was like, whoa, wait,
yeah, Robert
this is
performed with him.
crazy.
Robert was
Yes.
the Pope at it. Yeah, Adam he is like, and he and Robert are super tight. I also hope that at some point I get to just like meet him, because he is like the pinnacle for me, because when I saw him doing acoustic guitar comedy stuff on SNL as a kid, I'm a little older than you, Lauren. So like I grew up with it a little bit more. And I had VHS tapes of all of those guys' best of. So I had like Adam Sandler VHS best of SNL, and I wore that thing out. I had every CD he ever came out with, which were mixes of weird stand-up sophomoric humor stuff and then like songs. And they were like good songs that were just funny. And I think that there aren't a lot of people that do that super, super well. Like Weird Al was like parody based and
Mhm.
Adam Sandler's were like originals. And then now the thing I saw that like, I think I need to do something along those lines too is Bo Burnham's Inside. If you ever saw that on Netflix, did you see that?
No.
Oh my God. So it was during COVID. Do you know who Bo Burnham is? It's okay if you
No.
don't.
No.
He was a YouTuber comedian, but he was a musical comedian, and he
Okay.
got famous. He also got like, I think he got kind of sort of, I don't know if he got canceled, but he got in trouble for saying some really dumb stuff for a while
Okay.
because he was a kid. But Inside, he did a new special, and it was like literally him in a room like this, and he films an entire special because we were all stuck inside. And it is like real depressing to watch it now. Like it doesn't have the same hit, but it won an Oscar for best
Oh,
something
wow.
that year. And it was him doing all the camera work himself. He's singing songs, and like that dude embodies like sort of where I could see my, creative aspirations going towards as well. But yeah, Sandler and people like that, like there's just not that many of them. So
Yeah, it's super niche. I mean, and
yeah.
his Chris Farley tribute was, like,
Oh my God, so
incredible.
good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your most famous voiceover work that you've done that we would know you in? Or have you, like, signed NDAs?
I have signed some NDAs. I do a ton of dubbing work too, which is like, that's kind of been the bill payer for a long time is, Netflix and all these other places have a lot of international shows that they will dub to English. So if you watch anything on Netflix that is in another language that you dub to English, there is a high probability that I am in it, because I've done
That's
tons
crazy.
of stuff with them. But the most like I did a Carrie Underwood Target commercial when one of her new albums came out.
Okay.
Some bigger commercial stuff. Trying to think of what else. Like a Cisco commercial during the NHL playoffs. Cartoon wise, I haven't really cracked that code yet, which is frustrating because that's really where I want to be. Before I started Swerski, I actually did stop motion for a minute, which was like, that was a undertaking because I was doing all the stop motion myself, editing the stop motion, and doing all the voices and writing it all. It was
Oh
called
my
The
gosh.
Alien Donkey, if you if you want to go check that out. And it was in this
Okay.
same space, but I had like a table, and I would literally do stop motion. And to make like 3 minutes of stop motion would take me a whole week. It was like
Oh
such
my
a
gosh.
painstaking operation, but it allowed me to do voices like I always wanted to do. So that'll come. But yeah, lots of random commercials.
Last question. What was your band's name?
So original. It was the David Hawk Band or David Hawk Trio, depending on which band iteration it
Okay.
was. I did have a band in high school called Peach Naha. It was the first two letters of each one of our last names.
Okay,
That was the
that's
only
more
thing
of
we
what
could
I
make.
was looking for. I was like,
Yeah.
I love hearing where like band names come from
Yeah, we
because
never
it's so
really
funny.
I was performing solo enough that it was like the band was like some shows were with the band, some shows were with me, so it was just easy to be my own thing.
Yeah,
Super original.
that's awesome. Well, you should bring David Hawk out more because this has
Thank
been an
you.
absolute joy talking to you. Thank you for joining me
Yeah.
on the Out Route. Comment, like, subscribe, download wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you follow David Hawk, Dave Swerski, all in one that we learned today, the real life version of Hannah Montana. Appreciate you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome.